to debate, the co-founder of Justice for Women and author of Lesbian, Where Are We Now?, Julie Bindel, the rights advocate, Stacia Underwood, the sports journalist and political commentator, Emily Austin, and the host of The Crucible, Andrew Wilson. Well, welcome to all of you.
Can I ask her a question? Would you think it's fair if Novak Djokovic identified as a woman and then played Serena Williams in a tennis set? Do you think that that would be fair to Serena Williams, who worked her whole life to become a star tennis player, just to get swept by Novak, who's the #1 men's tennis player? I just want to know if you think that that's fair.
Yeah, I just think that the question is ridiculous because
Why is it ridiculous?
It's not ridiculous at all.
I see how it's trying to be framed. I'm gonna keep going back to my original point. Your guys' excessive attention on wanting to remove people from sports and have them play in their biological sex, which makes no sense because even in John Oliver's interview,
or in their own category,
the category that would make sense,
or in their own category.
Well, there's not enough of them to create a category. Like the percentile is so small.
Actually,
so
there actually are an increasingly large number of athletes around the world. Actually, that's not true. Andrew, you've been waiting very patiently. Thank you. This seems to me, this whole debate so far highlights the way this debate has been framed now for years, which is that any attempt to question what is obviously grotesquely unfair and unequal and indeed unsafe is branded, even when there's no evidence to suggest that the people saying it are.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, basically everybody in this panel is wrong. So to start with, this person says, well, you know, the thing is you just want to erase people altogether, Piers, and then says, I wasn't saying that, Piers. I wasn't saying that you want to erase people, not you specifically, when clearly that's what you were saying. At least get behind the statements that you're making. The turf starts out by saying, well, I've been here reinforcing women's rights this entire time, right? And then the turf says, right on top of that, well, but, you know, poker's very misogynistic. She can't wait to dunk on men. Very first thing she does is dunk on men in order to somehow elevate women, right? You're all insane. The truth is that the only reason that this happens to begin with is because women vote for it. They vote for it. They vote blue. They vote left. They vote in the same politicians who get behind all of this stuff. You're the deciding vote, right? And you have empowered women to do that as much as possible for the political process to do that. All of you are responsible for this. Every last one of you. Do you vote left, ma'am?
I don't know what vote left means.
Do you vote for the left-wing party of your nation?
Do you vote for Democrats?
Do you vote for what would be considered the Democrats of your nation?
No, I wouldn't have voted for the Democrats. I would not have voted for the disgrace of that party. And I also wouldn't have voted for Trump. But the point is,
if we look, hang on, let me finish with a follow-up.
We live
very
in a
quickly,
different,
very quickly, very quickly.
We live in a different context.
What I'm saying to you is this: it's very simple. If you look at the voting patterns of women in both the UK and the United States, they're usually the deciding vote when it comes to degeneracy. That includes it includes on the issue. So here you are. It's the very thing that you push for empowerment of women that is now causing your very problem. You have to now convince women. Men are already there. Men have already said, nope, we don't want this. We never wanted it. It's garbage.
To be women.
Yeah, apart from the women who are claiming to be men, which now it's almost equalized. Remember that part, right? This phenomenon, though, is categorically rejected by men and reinforced by women. And turfs like you did everything that you could possibly do in order to push that. You did everything you could do to push that. And now you get to reap the whirlwind. So I don't care if women in their sports teams are getting their teeth kicked in. I don't care. Reap what you sow. As you sow, so shall you reap. And then you get exactly what you deserve.
You seem like a lovely person.
I'm sorry that you have to deal with the consequences of your own actions.
I don't believe in the glorification, and especially I see it amongst Gen Zers, of not having children. I actually think it's disgraceful, and I don't think it's a flex at all to brag about not wanting to repopulate. It just shows me that you're so insecure that you're going to be a bad parent that you're not doing it. On the other hand, I'll ask you a question in return. Would you prefer a child growing up in a damaged family with a mother who clearly wasn't ready to raise a child and raise potentially what could be, a deranged child who grows up to be a serial killer or how about this, just a really bad person, rather than wait a few more years until she's ready to have her kid and then raise a mensch? What do you prefer?
Well, so here's what we can see when we break this down. What we see when we break this down is happens in the public school, where you're 100 times more likely to be essayed than you are if you're in a Catholic church. We see that if it is the case that you're a single mother, you are a single mother, especially by choice, that is usually the selection of stepfather that leads to the of the children. We also can see via the stats that you're completely just insane here. You are actually, if you stay inside of a family where you mom and dad don't even like each other, your outcomes are still better than if you, the girl boss, goes, I just don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel fulfilled, and so I need to go and date the neighbor down the road or whatever, right? The truth is that regardless of your fulfillment, children are the duty. The next generation is the duty, and women have a duty to keep the family intact as well. They're responsible for most of the divorces. They file for the most amount of divorces, not because, but because of irreconcilable differences. And when asked, I don't feel fulfilled. And it's like, that's not how we run a society. It's literally a death sentence for our whole society. Look at what's going on in the UK. It's a death sentence for them.
Okay, let me bring in Stasia, who's been grimacing throughout that. Stasia, why are you so outraged by what he's saying?
I'm not outraged. I just think that you all are fairly stupid. And everything that's being said is ridiculous. And it's just like a comedy show.
You think you can change your sex? How can you ever call anybody stupid? How can you ever call anybody stupid?
Yeah,
you
she
think
should
you
sit
can
that
change
one
your
out.
sex?
Oh, I zoned out and I thought I'd woken up in the 1950s in some TARDIS. You can't take him seriously. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean in the 1950s? You mean in the 1950s when we had intact families where 95% of women were getting married as virgins, where families weren't being broken up, where crime was extremely low, where you only needed one income to support an entire household, where mental illness was at an all-time low? Like that 1950s? I'm sorry that I make a reference to a time.
Sir, are you married? Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married. How do you make married with many children?
Is your
How
wife
about
happy?
You married with children? Oh, she's ecstatic.
No, I'm 23.
She's
I'm a
gonna bring
boss lady girl, which seems to be driving you crazy.
Yeah.
Working, making money,
I'm just pointing
waiting
out,
for the right guy to
the
come
only
along.
thing you have no arguments. You just try to assault me personally. You can try, but the truth is that I've reproduced. I am
How
married.
did I assault
do
you?
have
I
the
asked you
life.
if you're married.
No, you didn't. You were making a passive-aggressive
I mean,
feminist.
Wait, how did I assault
about how my
you?
wife
Sound
must be
liberal.
miserable.
Andrew,
your wife must be miserable.
To be fair, Andrew is
She might
practicing
be.
what he preaches.
I think the beauty about free will is you make a choice who you want to spend your life with. Like, I know many men are okay with, a woman who works, and I know many men are not. And that's the great part, is you choose who you want to partner with. So if you want a woman to be home and have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, which is a beautiful choice to make in life, then go for it. If you want a woman who can do both, work and have children when she's ready, 2 or 3 children, then go for that type of woman. If you want a woman who's never home and going to be, on the road all the time, and trust me, there are many beta men who would love that, then go for that. Like, nobody is forcing you to be with a woman that doesn't cater to your needs. The same way no one's forcing any women to be with a guy like Andrew Tate that's going to beat you and make you miserable. We have choices, and we need to make calculated, wise choices as to what personally is best for you.
The Andrew Tate fallacy,
Julie,
instantly moving over to Andrew Tate is evil and a representation of men who believe in a patriarchal system. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that we should be doing for society what is socially good for society. If we can't reproduce our society, that's a really bad social ill for society. When you have propaganda that is telling women to go get useless degrees
is for me
in
and my
psychology
husband, it's
and
not
sociology.
For society.
Yeah, that's great. Let me
It's
finish.
actually
Andrew,
it's quite sad.
hang on. Just Andrew, quickly. Is Megyn Kelly a covert feminist then? By your
Not covert,
criteria?
overt. She's an overt feminist. Covert's out for Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly came out and said women should be prioritizing career over family. That's what Matt Walsh's issue was with her, and he's absolutely right. The guy struck it out of the ballpark. Socially, in society, we should be moving women into a familial role. It's not to say that women can't work. Nobody's saying women can't work. We're just saying that if you're going to glorify things in society, it should be the mother in the intact home and the wife and the caretaker at home, not the girl boss. That's insane. And it's a societal death sentence. Walsh knows it. Everybody knows this at this point. If you can't reproduce your own nation, you don't have a nation.
Do you know how...
Okay, Julie, you wanted to jump in there.
I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut,
I get
lady.
That I'll just finish. I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have
irrelevant.
an
Very
argument?
insecure.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry, I
Andrew
haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes,
I don't...
I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock
it's
jock,
not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to
No
listen
arguments.
to you. You're
When
an
are you going to
aggressive,
have an argument?
insecure man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to
We're not
happen. This
taking
is
you
going to go
seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument. Now, can you make one or not?
Oh, you know, this is schoolboy
By the way,
tactic.
a real
It's
man
schoolboy.
doesn't speak down to a woman the way
I
you
don't
do.
care what you think.
You're
a
not
real
a real man.
is.
You're actually
I
very
don't care
feminine
what
if
you
you
think
ask
a real
me.
man
You're
is.
a
Don't
very
care.
feminine man.
And nobody cares what you think real men
You're
are.
You sound super
pathetic,
feminine.
mate.
Yeah.
And how
Nobody cares what you think a real man is.
that you're such
I'm
a
sure your wife's
big
very happy
boy
at home.
by slating, bringing in
You're so mad.
personal
So
personal insults about women's
You start. Hey,
I'm actually
appearance.
very
I'm
happy
sorry.
right
I'm
now.
sorry. You guys
I
think that you
feel
can
for
assault
you
people.
when
We
you
can't
go
say
out
anything
in
back.
into the big wide world from behind your macho
Well, one day when I go out in the
podcast
big
studio
wide
there.
world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments
Wait, why are you
on
on
a show
Piers
like this.
Morgan? Shouldn't you go be working right
Why
now
are
and making
you?
money for your
Why-
family to
I
support?
am
How do you have
working,
time to
making
I'm
a ton of
working. I don't
money. What
have
are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
You're
I'm
saying that
23
you
years
can't
old.
make
I'm not
money?
married with kids
You-
yet, but
you-
it
you
seems
can't
like
make
you should
money
go be working
podcasting?
right now to fulfill your gender role as a big,
I
strong man.
am working right now.
Oh, well, get to work.
Well, let
That's
me
what I
ask-
do
let me
for a
ask,
living. I
You're
don't know
not
what
being
you're
paid to
talking
be
about.
here.
Yes, lady. I'm going to get paid a lot of money ultimately to be here. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you saw my bank account, what I
Okay,
make doing
sure.
stuff like this, it would
You're
make
so
you
cool.
weep. It
Oh,
would
show
make
us your
you
bank
weep.
account to make yourself feel
It
more
would make
secure.
you weep. Yeah, hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
Andrew?
Well, first of all, stay-at-home moms are mostly nowadays parking their kids in public school for most of the day. Oftentimes, the kids are taking buses from the city to the school and buses home. They're not even driving them. Okay, not even driving them. And they have fully furnished lunch, even breakfast at most of these public schools, right? They don't even have to send them with a lunch anymore. They have all day to do household chores while men are working, right? No, women do not do a disproportionate amount of work in comparison to men. That's absurd. No labor statistic supports that. And even if we were to take household chores and put it on the table against a man's work, doesn't even come close, even with children, especially because you're parking them most of the time in a public school for most of the day. This lady who's making this TikTok, totally insane, completely disconnected from reality, has no idea how this actually works.
She's not
Okay,
totally
Julie, your
insane.
response to
You're
that.
going to make a choice to marry a girl who's going to cook and clean and do everything. And me as a woman, I'm going to make a choice to hire a housekeeper one day so that I don't have to cook and clean because that's my choice. The problem is you're too obsessed with other people's choices. Live and let live. Like, take a step back and recognize not everyone has to be as extreme as you are. Like, yes, women
live
should
and
cook
let
and
live
clean,
until
but
it
if they're
comes
not
to the.
they're not perfect.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's
I do
crazy
live
that
Live
and
and
you
let
let
guys
live.
live
all
till
Don't
it comes to
blame
the genders.
I don't care if you're. I don't care if you're.
Well, I
gender.
don't understand.
Go for it.
It's
That's,
live
I'm
and
not
let
marrying.
live. Let them go play their
Let
sports.
them live and let
them
live. Absolutely.
Live and let live. you
no.
people contradict
That's not
yourselves so
equality.
much.
That's their
it's absurd.
superiority.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
I think you're
superiority.
just
What's
stupid
going on right
because I'm
now,
explaining myself and making
Yeah.
sense.
the explanation makes no.
And
You're
there's
talking about
I saw
absolutely
both sides
should
of
live
Stacia
and let
wanting-
live. They should not participate in sports.
Let's let
It's called a
Stacia-
boundary.
Let Stacia talk. Stacia, you wanted to say something?
You're just all walking contradictions. It's crazy that you can even say something like that. You guys are all fighting with each other about live and let live, and we're having an entire conversation about people and their ability or lack of ability to be in sports. So it's wild to watch him with the cigarette, like think he's all pompous, and you over there acting like it's just ridiculous.
Hey, I'm the only one here who is consistent. I said I don't care if you people go in and beat the tar out of women. I don't care. Go do it. They voted for it. I think they need a taste of their own medicine. I think it's good for them. And maybe some of this madness will stop if they actually have to take accountability and deal with the consequences of their own voting.
You're actually insane.